Greetings and welcome to the broadcast. I'm your host, it's Prison News, and we're going to start part 2 of the McGuffy's Readers, where we're just taking some selected excerpts just to kind of turn the clock back 200 years and see how kids were taught in the classroom. Now, what we're doing, we're just reading the reading part to give us some flavor of some of the stories. We won't be doing any math or any of the work with a chalkboard and the chalk that they used back then. Let's go ahead and start with the first story, called The Bird. How does the bird make the nest so strong, Willie? The mother bird has her bill and her claws to work with, but she would not know how to make the nest if God did not teach her. Do you see right there what it's made of? Yes, Willie, I see. There's some horsehair, some dry grass. The old bird must have worked so hard to find all the hairs and to make them into such a pretty round nest. Shall we take the nest, Rose? Oh, no, Willie. We must not take it, but we will come in and look at it again some other day. Next. Willie, when I was feeding the birds just now, a little bird flew away with a crumb in its bill. Where did it go, Rose? I don't know. Off somewhere, I guess. I can guess where, Rose. Don't you remember the nest we saw some days ago? What do you think is in that nest now? Oh, Willie, I know. Some little brown birds. Let's go see 'em. All right, but we must not go too near. There, I just saw an old bird fly out of that bush. Stand here, Rose. Can you see? Why, Willie, what ugly things. They have big mouths and there's no feathers. Keep still, Rose. Here comes the old bird with a worm in her bill. How hard she must work to feed them. Next, a poem. When the stars at set of sun watch you from on high, when the morning has begun, think, the Lord is nigh. All you do and all you say, He can see and hear. When you work and when you play, think, the Lord is near. All your joys and griefs He knows, counts each falling tear. When to Him you tell your woes, know, the Lord is near. Next. One day when Mary was taking a walk down the lane, trying to sing her doll to sleep, she met Frank with his basket and cane. Frank was a poor, lame boy. His father and mother were dead. His dear old grandma took care of him and tried to make him happy. Every day Mary's mother filled Frank's basket with bread and meat and a little tea for his grandma. How do you do, Frank? Said Mary. Don't make a noise. My doll is going to sleep. It's just a little sick today. Well, let us whistle him to sleep, said Frank, and taking a willow whistle out of his pocket, he blew a long note. Oh, how sweet, cried Mary. Let me try. Next. Yes, Mary, I'll give it to you because you're so good to my grandma. Oh, thank you very much. Mary blew and blew a long time. I can't make it whistle. She was almost ready to cry. Sometimes they'll whistle, sometimes they won't, said Frank. Try again, Mary. She tried once more, and the whistle made a low, sweet sound. It whistles, she cried. In her joy she had turned the doll's face down, and its eyes shut tight, as if it had gone to sleep. There, cried Frank, I told you the way to put a doll to sleep is to whistle to it. So it is, said Mary. Dear little thing, I must put it to its bed now. So they went into the house. Frank's basket was soon filled, and he went home happy. Next. There was once a big white hen that had 12 little chickens. They were very small, and the old hen took good care of them. She found food for them in the daytime, and at night she kept them under her wings. One day this old hen took her chickens down to a small brook. She thought the air from the water would do them good. When they got to the brook, they walked on the bank a little while. It was very pretty on the other side of the brook, and the old hen thought she would take her children over there. There was a large stone in the brook. She thought it would be easy for them to jump to that stone and from it to the other side. So she jumped to the stone and told the children to come after her. For the first time she found they would not obey her. She flapped her wings and cried, "Come here, all of you! Jump up on the stone, just like I did. We can then jump to the other side. Come now, come now." "Oh, Mother, we can't, said all the little chickens. "Yes, you can, if you try," said the old hen. "Just flap your wings, as I did, and you can jump over." "I'm flapping my wings," said Chippy, who stood by himself. "I'm flapping my wings, but I just can't jump any better than I can before." He chirped and chirped. "I never saw such children," said the old hen. "You didn't try at all." "We can't jump so far, Mother. Indeed we can't, chirped the little chickens. "Well," the old hen said, "I must give it up." So she jumped back to the bank and walked slowly home with her brood. "I think Mother is asking too much of us," said one of the little chickens to the others. "Well, I tried," said Chippy. "We didn't," said the others. "It was of no use to try." When they got home, the old hen began to look about for something to eat. She soon found near the back door a piece of bread, so she called the chickens, and they all ran up to her, each one trying to get a bite at a piece of bread. "No, no," said the old hen. "This bread is for Chippy. Chippy's the only one of my children that really tried to jump to the stone by flapping his wings." Next. Okay, this is the last lesson from McGuffy's first eclectic reader. I'll just read it to you how the kids felt when they came to the end of their first book. And it says this: "We have come to the last lesson in this book. We have finished the first reader. You can now read all the lessons in it, and you can write them on your slates. Have you taken good care of your book? Children should always keep their books neat and clean. Are you not glad to be ready for a new book? Your parents are very kind to send you to school. If you are good and if you try to learn, your teacher will love you and you will please your parents." And that's it, folks. Then there's a thing about a phonics chart, and then they have some other things for the kids to do. Let's go ahead and grab the next one, reader, and we'll come back in just a moment. Okay, we've opened up McGuffy's second electric reader, called Evening at Home. It is winter, and the cold wind whistles through the branches of the trees. Mr. Brown has done his day's work, and his children, Harry and Kate, have come home from school. They learned their lessons well today, and both feel happy. Tea is over. Mrs. Brown has put the little sitting room in order. The fire burns brightly. One lamp gives enough light for everyone. On the stool is a basket of fine apples that seem to say, "Won't you have one?" Harry and Kate read a story in a new book. The father reads his newspaper, and the mother mends Harry's stockings. By and by they will tell one another what they've been reading about, and will have a chat over the events of the day. Harry and Kate's bedtime will come first. I think I see them kiss their dear father and their mother a sweet good night. Do you not wish that every boy and girl could have a home like this? Next. The boys have come out on the porch to blow bubbles. The old cat is asleep on the mat by the door. "Ha, ha," laughs Robert as a bubble comes down softly on the old cat's back and does not burst. Willie tries to make his bubble do the same. This time it comes down on the cat's face and makes her sneeze. "She would rather wash her face without soap," says Harry. "Now let's see who can make the biggest bubble." "Mine's the biggest," says Robert. "See how high it floats in the air? I can see... Oh, it burst." "I can see the house and the trees and the sky in mine," says Willie. "And such beautiful colors." "How many, Willie?" "Red is 1, blue is 2. There are... Oh, it popped. Let's try again." "I know how many colors there are," says Harry. "Just as many are in the rainbow." Do you know how many colors that is? Next. James White has 2 dogs. One is a Newfoundland dog, and the other is a Scotch Terrier. The Newfoundland is a large, noble fellow. He is black with a white spot and with long, shaggy hair. His name is Sport. Sport's a good watchdog and a kind playfellow. Every night he guards the house while James and his father are asleep. In the daytime, James often uses Sport for his horse. He's got a little wagon and a set of small harnesses that just fit the dog. He hitches Sport to this wagon and drives over the country. In this way, he can go almost as fast as his father with the old family horse. The name of James's Scotch Terrier is Dodger. He is called Dodger because he jumps about so friskily. He's up on a chair, under the table, behind the door, down the cellar, and all out in the yard, all in just under a minute. Dodger has very bright eyes, and he does many funny things. He likes to put his paws up on the crib and watch the baby. The other day he took the baby's red stocking and had great fun with it, but he spoiled it in his play, and James had to scold him. Everyone likes to see James White with his two dogs. They always seem so very happy together. Next. A little play does not harm anyone, but does much good. After play, we should be glad to get back to work. I knew a boy who liked a good game very much. He could run, swim, jump, and play ball, and was always merry when he was out of school. But he knew that time is not all for play, that our minutes, hours, and even our days are very precious. At the end of his play, he would go home, and after he had washed his face and his hands and brushed his hair, he would help his mother, or read in his book, or write upon his slate. He used to say, "One thing at a time, one thing at a time." When he had done with work, he would play, but he did not try to play and work at the same time. Susie Sunbeam was not her real name. That was Susan Brown, but everyone called her Susie Sunbeam because she had such a sweet, smiling face and always brought brightness with her when she came. Her grandfather first gave her this name, and it seemed to fit the girl so nicely that soon that name took the place of her real name. Even when a baby, Susie laughed and cried and crowed from morning till night. No one ever heard her really cry hard unless she was sick or hurt. When she had learned to walk, she loved to go about the house and get things for her mother, and in this way save her mother as many steps as she could. She would sit by her mother's side for hours at a time and ask her ever so many questions, or she would take her new book and read it. Susie was always pleasant in her play with other children. She never used an unkind word, but tried to do whatever would please her playmates best. One day, a poor little girl with a very ragged dress was going by, and Susie heard some children teasing her and making fun of the girl. Susie at once ran to the gate and asked the poor little girl to come in. "What are you crying for? Why are you crying?" Susie asked. "Because they all laugh at me," the girl said. Then Susie took the little girl into the house. She cheered her up with kind words and gave her a nice dress and a pair of shoes. This brought real joy and gladness to the poor child, and this child, she too, thought that Susie was rightly called Susie Sunbeam. Well, folks, we're about a third of the way in to McGuffy's second eclectic reader, just taking some random samples again to give you a flavor of what it was like learning your lesson, so to speak, 200 years ago. Well, take care. God bless all of you. Don't forget, if you decide to read the Bible cover to cover, there's less words in the Bible than there is in a Sunday edition of a newspaper from a major city, like a massive, major big city. And we're talking about the ads as well. You've seen those big, thick Sunday papers. If somebody gave you $50,000 to read one, you wouldn't say you're stressed out, or wear your eyes out, or I'm stressed, or I don't understand all the words in the classified section. You would read that thing. The Bible is less words. If you get a chance, get an old Bible. Get an old 200-year-old Bible like a King James Version. Read it cover to cover. And a lot of the things in that Bible are mentioned in these McGuffy's readers. Take care. God bless all of you. And bye for now.